We're at Trail Hero 2023, and we get Randy Slawson addicted to crack, and I almost OD on some seriously sketchy obstacles.
What was that? Bronson just sent it. All he had to do was crawl. Alright, so I only know a little bit, but I know we're going to hit Arrowhead and Upper Arrowhead, which I think is called Broken Arrow. It's going to be good. We got some good people with us. Obviously, we're here. There's Bronson, our driver. We got Virgil and C, Shaughnessy. We also got Randy Slawson in his bomber car, super sweet. We got Derek and of course Forrest and Carly. So it's gonna be good. We're gonna have a good time. Yeah!
We are headed out of camp into the trail here in Sand Hollow during the 2023 Trail Hero, one of the most insane off-road 4x4 events in the world. The goal today is to hit Arrowhead Trail, the home of King's Crack. If we can make it through that in one piece, then we will continue up the canyon, leveling up and hitting Broken Arrow.
We had a casualty, we lost a hat. And the hat has been saved.
I did it! So I just learned Arrowhead Canyon is rated a 10. FYI.
Although Arrowhead is rated a 10, there are some obstacles and even a series of side chutes called side Ps that are rated a 12 or even higher. Then the continuation trail, Broken Arrow, is rated one below the highest rating in Sand Hollow, a 14. Forrest sneaks by starting up the first real obstacle on this trail. The gatekeeper gives you just a tiny taste of what's to come. If you're not comfortable on cracks, you might want to get some practice before you come hit this trail. While I head up this obstacle, I'm going to give you some quick tips on how to drive cracks that I've learned over time. First tip is when you start to learn cracks, you can use the black tire marks on the rocks as a silent spotter. If you put your tires on the thickest part of the black marks, it will give you the best idea of what line works. Now looking at the front of my buggy, you can see that the wall on my driver's side is much more vertical and the passenger side wall has much more of a grade. You will want to keep your driver's side much higher on the vertical side and your passenger much lower. You want both of your outer edges of your tires, the shoulders, to be in contact with the rocks. If you're riding the complete sidewall of your tire or the complete bottom of your tire contacting the rock in a crack, it will increase the chances of a tire slipping into the crack, putting you in a spot that you don't want to be in. Virgil's buggy is a little more than a foot narrower than my rig, so you can see that his tires are lined up more on the inside of the black marks. But just like me, he's riding the shoulders of his tires, keeping his rig nice and pinched in the crack, so that way he doesn't fall in. Forrest and the green rear steer Sammy found the first bit of side piece. The side chutes are all part of side piece and are optional. The difficulty jumps up to a 12 on these offshoots. As you can see, the obstacle has a straight up zigzag with pinch point spots like a crack, taking more skills and technical driving to get up. Obstacles like this limit your visibility due to being straight up and not being able to see your tires very well because of the sharp zigzags. This is when you have to resort to wheeling by braille, or as we call it, the seat of your pants. Knowing your buggy and paying attention to feeling for stability and traction are very important. When you feel for the traction, keep doing what got you the traction. If you feel unstable, then do the opposite of what caused the instability. You will eventually feel your way to the top of the obstacle. Trails are rated mainly by the difficulty, but consequence is highly factored in as well. There couldn't be a better example than the section that Forrest is lining up on. If there wasn't a well over 15-foot drop on the passenger side, this obstacle would just be difficult. But due to the consequences of the drop and one wrong move, you won't just be rolling on your lid, you'll also be taking a 15-foot impact. Knowing the consequence, I tiptoe and make sure that every move I make is extremely calculated. Respecting what could happen if I mess up, but also trying to block out as much of the dropout as possible. And focusing on the obstacle at hand, not letting the drop get too much in my head. Now that I'm through the sketchy part, the rest feels much easier, but I'll be the first one to admit I'm happy to have that one behind me. Now we drop back into Arrowhead to keep running up the canyon. On this next obstacle, Forrest is taking a wild bonus line. You have to shoot up the wall, crab walk the face of the wall, and then last minute you have to turn your front slightly passenger with your rear turn full driver, all while rolling forward, threading the needle between the drop and the rock wall. Sketchy part is you have to keep moving. Every time you stop, your rig wants to slide off the sandy sloped ledge. Virgil makes a smart decision and goes for the normal line, giving me just enough time to talk myself into some bad decisions. This was going to be the time I give it a shot.
What was that? Bronson just sent it. All he had to do was crawl.
Everything was going as good as it possibly could with being my first stab at this, until my fronts were too far towards the crack, causing an abrupt stop. I thought for sure I was going to slide into a bad spot, if not all the way off the edge. So I kicked it into full rowdy and luckily pulled it off.
Did that look wild? Oh, that was good. That was wild. Dude, I was like,
That was sketchy.
tire here. You were like over here and your rear just floated back down. You just jumped it.
Yeah, you scared the shit out of me.
It was pretty rowdy. I was scared too.
I was scared too.
Your entire rear steer was turned hella right, and you just gassed it, and the rear steer was just like, dude, the way you went over that crack with your rear
You
steer,
stand like a gap.
yeah.
Randy pulls up to take what looks to be the same line, but passes the one Forrest and I did, making this the third line being taken up this obstacle. That is one of the coolest things about Sand Hollow, is you're on a trail and you do what the trail says, but you can do whatever else you want outside of the trail as long as you can drive it. The line he takes puts him over twice as high as where we were. But the only way to get back to the trail is a crazy, slick, long, near vertical drop in.
Well, that's a freaking up and over, huh?
Down that.
Easy peasy. Nothing to it.
Little Isla heard what obstacle was next, and she started flooring it to make sure that she didn't miss out.
All right, now the good stuff, right? The good stuff is King's Crack. You know Bronson's relationship with King's Crack.
We're going on King's Crack.
Howdy, howdy, let's get rowdy. We're on Arrowhead, and this is King's Crack, the biggest bonus obstacle of this trail. This thing is absolutely massive. He literally just went straight up through that crack, and he's all the way up there. It's freaking insane. That's gotta be at least 4 stories. He's not even to the top yet.
That's little old me there at the bottom of this crack. Problem is I'm 6'3" and not so little. Just to give you an idea of how insanely high and deep this crack really is.
Gold digger bomber chassis.
This is Randy Slawson's first time trying King's Crack, but don't think he's a stranger to being a king. He's a 3-time King of the Hammers Hammer King and one of the best to have ever raced on rocks. Going fast over rocks is much different than technical crawling though. The stakes are similar, but the driving style is way different. It's going to be really interesting to see how he does on King's Crack. Just as he nears the top, the driver rear starts to fall into the crack. Without skipping a beat, he puts it into rear only to do a rear dig while turning into the wall to level out. During that adjustment, it caused his front passenger to slip traction and start slipping into the crack. He quickly grabs front dig and turns passenger to get the tire to climb back to where it needs to be, giving us a quick lesson on how to correct yourself in a crack. These were big technical moves, and he did them so smooth and quick it was almost like it was all part of the plan. It turns out Randy can not only go fast on the rocks, but he kills the technical high stakes slow stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah, bud.
Howdy, howdy, we all know how I like this crack. Ah!
Now it's my turn, and if you haven't followed the channel for a while, you might not know the history I have with this crack, so I'll fill you in. This was at the top of my bucket list for obstacles I wanted to drive. I've come out to Sand Hollow to hit this 3 separate times with intentions of driving this every time. I got here and I would chicken out. It wasn't until the last time I was on this trail I finally worked up enough cojones to commit to doing it. I made it with a lot of spotting from Virgil, and it took me forever to get up it. This time my goal is to drive it without a spotter and to do it quicker and smoother. And that's exactly what I did. I was stoked the first time that I made this crack, but to take it down all on my own without the help of a spotter and got up it 10 times faster felt almost as good, if not better, than the first time. The funny thing about King's Crack is once you're through, it seems the 2 obstacles after are just as hard, if not harder. King's Crack is tough due to the consequences if you made a mistake. Falling into the crack and getting your buggy wedged in there, or even worse, flipping backwards down a 3 to 4 story drop would be catastrophic. But the crack itself without the consequences wouldn't be bad. Once you finally get out the rest of the way, you have to pick a line back down into the bottom of Arrowhead Canyon. If you pick the wrong way like I'm about to, things can get pretty hairy.
Go down that, but it looks pretty hairy.
Whoa!
I was like, that's a long way down. I came down here.
Freaking making me nervous.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
The crack was the easy part today, boys.
Ugh! God, these rocks are so slick.
You want a drink, babe?
I want a break.
I don't know if it was harder for me to drive down or if it was harder for Jess to hike down that hill, but either way, it was pretty sketchy. We're nearing the end of Arrowhead and took a quick break to hydrate, grab snacks, and decide if we should push our luck and run Broken Arrow, which after some of those close calls I had, it's probably best to quit while I'm ahead.
We just got through Arrowhead, we did the bonus lines, it was super rad, and now we got to the next phase of this trail, which turns into Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow is just a very technical long crack. And for all you crack addicts out here, this is the crack that we modeled that new merch from. So if you're into cracks and you're a crack addict, go check it out and get you some merch.
This crack is not as straight up as King's crack, but it is 10 times more technical and just as deep. The walls on either side twist and turn the entire time, with the walls getting wider and narrower throughout the entire crack. You have to completely be focused on your front and rear axle at the same time. If you're caught sleeping, your buggy's gonna slip in and get jammed so bad that it might as well become a permanent obstacle. Forrest was the one who got me into crack. That being said, there's no surprise he's a crack killer. It makes the hardest cracks look smooth and easy.
Your turn.
Oh God. Never got an ending answer. I was like,
I'll try it.
That's the thing about cracks, they're highly addictive. From the looks of it, Randy's getting hooked. We've done a feature on this car, the Gold Digger, last Trail Hero. This car was intended to do great hauling butt or getting technical. Being it was built by him and he specializes in rock racing, I know it would work flawless on the go fast stuff. With the rear steer, high visibility, and the parts list that it has, I figured it would do pretty decent at the technical stuff, the stuff that we specialize in. If he completes this, then I'm convinced that this is the perfect best of both worlds chassis.
I should have probably told you at the beginning that I'm not the best spotter.
Me neither.
This second to last crack is short, but man is it technical. Probably the toughest part of the entire trail for me. You can't square up to the crack because of the massive undercut on the driver's side wall. So you have to go up just the passenger side wall and then front dig across the crack and bridge the gap to get squared up on it. If this obstacle got any harder, it'd be a hard pass.
Hey, Bronson. There's a bunch of bees over here.
Bees? A lot?
I can see like 10 of them. I don't know if there's a hive there or not. I don't want to find out. We're gonna drive right over where they are. If there's bees, that's on you. There's bees. I'm scared.
This obstacle just got way harder. I'm already halfway committed, so I might as well go forward instead of backwards. Nothing motivates you to not screw up like knowing there's an angry beehive waiting to add insult to injury if you fall in this crack. What makes this one difficult besides the bees is it's got straight vert walls on either side of the crack. And the more vertical the walls, the less margin for error and more precise you have to be to not fall in.
Overtime. Working overtime.
Making it through that one was the bee's knees. I've already made it out, and Forrest is on the last obstacle of Broken Arrow. A straight up hole that feathers into a crack that you have to wedge your tires in the crack to force traction up this crazy steep exit. While he finishes up the trail, I just want to remind you guys, we have some rowdy rock crawling merch at wreckedgear.com. Made for wheelers, by wheelers, to keep us wheeling. So what are you waiting for? Go get you some.
Get you some of that crack addict! Woo!
Sponsored in part by Dirty Life Race Wheels, BFGoodrich Tires, Warren Industries, KC HiLites, and Axle Off-Road Helmets. Best way to support this channel is give that subscribe button a little skiddly do, diddle that notification bell, give this video the fat finger, and leave a dirty little comment below. Wreck Gear now has merch and buggy accessories at wreckgear.com, so don't forget to go spend that money that mama don't know about. As always, thanks for watching.